I feel like I need to be doing a countdown here all of a sudden. Everyone buckle up, strap in, thrusters on, ready to roll. Lonnee Ray. Oh, good. See, now you go and mute yourself as soon as, listen, I got it. I fix it. You can do it.
Is it working? Can you hear me?
Yes, and you do sound a little bit like we are actually in a space launch, and that is on brand and appropriate, miss. I love it. No.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone, to a very special edition of the Franki 411 podcast, where we get to talk to the writers, the authors, the poets, the wonderful people who have joined us for Volume 9 of Rattled Awake with Queen Lonnee Ray, publisher extraordinaire, Hungarian librarian. Hi, friend.
I love that title. Hi. I'm so excited to be here with you and everybody else with the Writers and Poets edition. Wow, what a wild and crazy bunch. Just a
bunch, and you know who's going to tell us that that's true is 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲, who's going to come up pretty soon here because he had a good time listening to all of us, the ladies in the group, go a little bit wild and crazy.
Yeah, he dubbed me the official cat herder, so I guess that makes you guys cat.
I'm fine with that. Listen, I need to be herded. I need a babysitter. We know this is true.
Do we? Okay. Okay.
I know.
That'll work.
There's a little bit of a, you might want to turn your mic down just a little bit. Emily's letting us know we got to, there you go. What you got?
Oh, I turned it off.
Oh, well, you know what? Listen, we'll just roll with it. It's going to be great. Tell the audience, the folks at home, the folks who are watching, wondering what this is about. Tell them about Rattled Awake just a little bit and about this special edition, Volume 9 of Rattled Awake.
I'd be happy to. Rattled Awake is an anthology series where you can take a chapter out of your life, but it doesn't take your whole life to tell the journey. In a course of a weekend, we really nail on a particular thing that happened for you or to you, and what did you do about it? So it's pivots for the positive, and how did you become better, not bitter, as a result? And we've all been through a lot over the last 5 years. And there's no doubt multiple Rattled Awake moments we've all had. So it's like, what shook you, and whatever aha you had that meant something, it's going to mean something to somebody else too. So that's what we do. Yeah.
That's what we do, and I love it. And I feel like I do think our group has a lot of really good folks who are in a space of wanting to put out that same energy for people that, listen, sometimes the seas get rough, but that doesn't mean you don't keep sailing, right?
Well said.
Right. So now I think we're going to bring up 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲, who's hanging out. There he is. Hi there, friend.
Hey. Hi. Good to see you.
See, listen, I knew I would get you to join in the fun somehow. I knew we'd wrangle you in here and get you to just play and have a good time, even though you were scared of us just a little bit initially. Yeah.
I'm a little scared of you still.
You know what, Rick? That works for me. I kind of like my men a little afraid of me.
Scary.
That fits.
Yeah, so it's kind of a wild bunch. It was obvious to me that you were on a mission to tell your stories. And I was honored to be a part of that. It was really, really fun to meet people from all over the world, different time zones. Everybody had their own little story. It was pretty cool.
I do love that we got to, that's one of the brilliant things that I like about Lonnee Ray bringing together folks from all over the place, is that you do get to experience people who are in not just very different walks of life, but come from a different background, different cultures. And that is something that I think is really great. Tell me. Oh, go for it.
I want to throw something in here about Rick. I was introduced to him. Thank you, Shelley. Shout out Shelley Starks, friends of Shelley, FOS. I was fascinated because of the way. So Rick has 9 books, and he's a fiction writer. So as I was a little intimidated, I said, I don't know if you need to come to the workshop. And he's like, actually, I do. And but he wrote, he writes about what's happened in his life and how it informs his characters. And guys, you got to look at his books. And he's just amazing in his creativity and the characters he creates as a result of having experienced your character yourself. Dementia and crazy people in his life. No pun intended. But what a fascinating man you are, and you contributed 2 chapters, and both of them are outstanding. I love the one that you wrote to the writers. about the experience that you had. And I just would love it if you'd share a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. So, gosh, I got to try and keep this short. I had a whole different life going. I had all kinds of homes and was doing quite well at toys. And when 2008 hit, I had everything taken away from me. And I mean, like, ready to be on the streets kind of thing. Selling a mahogany desk so I could afford to put gas in the car that they didn't take away from me yet. It was really bad stuff. And to keep my mind off of the mess I got myself into, I started writing. And when I was selling this mahogany desk, I found an old fake ID from when I was 16 years old. It said I was 18, so I could buy beer. You know, my name was 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲. And
𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲 needs to be a character in a story, please.
He was my very first book. 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲, and he had a split personality because he was half 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲, half 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓭𝓬𝓪.
I love it already. Meeting your infinite selves.
I know, what would he be like if he was 50 now, 60? Well, I was 50 when I started writing, and I thought it was great. I had a ball. My wife said, "Oh, this is wonderful." So I went out and bought 100 books, and here they are. They're ready, and nobody came to get any of them. I think my mom got one and gave it back to me a week later with all the mistakes circled in it. And
just like moms to do that, right?
Yep. Then I overheard a relative on the phone. He wrote a book. He thought he was going to be the next J.K. Rowling, and it was a flop. I overheard it. It crushed me. I didn't write for 2 years. Two years. And but the bug was still there, and a story would get in my head. I would have the hardest time getting it out of my head. I wrote a second book, and this one did much better, which was very encouraging. And the third one better. And they just kept getting better as I started to believe in myself more and more. And the lesson is to believe in yourself and don't let people sway you. And that's really the whole message of that particular chapter.
Yeah, I love that so much as a writer myself, somewhat, not nearly as prolific as you and in the certain genre that you do. But you know what? People will tamp us down. And that was the message in my chapter, coincidentally, is don't let anybody tamp you down, honey. And no matter who it is, keep going. Because there's people who are going to be like, right on, literally, right.
Fail. Yeah.
No. The ones that really want to support you will show up. But the ones that are, there are those who don't want you to succeed. They may not even know it. But, in the end, they can do some damage. And, I made a post about you yesterday, and I said, and I did an excerpt from your book, or from your chapter. And where the guy came up to you you didn't see that. That's okay. With tears in his eyes and said that the traveler changed his life. And I said that almost didn't happen because Rick quit for 2 years. Yeah. And I'm so glad you picked up your pen again. You're so amazing, so brilliant. Thank you for being in this series.
Oh, are you kidding me? It was a blast.
And,
thank you for sharing that too, Lonnee, because, it is important especially when you hear a story like Rick's, it's important to tell people that the thing that they're doing meant something to someone, because you never know when that moment's going to come. And I say it all the time on my podcast, your voice is necessary and your creativity is necessary. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't feel called to be creative or do that thing if there wasn't somebody out there looking for your voice and your message.
Bingo.
That's why it's so important for everybody to do those things that keep popping you, knocking you in the head. They're doing it for a reason because you're supposed to do something with it.
They're definitely for somebody.
That's right.
That's it. What calls to you for you? Just saying.
That's right. Rick, thank you so much for joining us. I know you got a dash, so we're going to let you roll on out and we will pull in another one of our author friends. But thank you, friend, for joining us.
Pleasure.
Bye, Rick. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you.
Loved it. All right.
Bye.
Love it. And now we got to bring up our friend, Miss Emily. Hello there,
Emily! Queen of promotional videos.
Enthusiasm, it can't be contained. I've tried in life and I failed. So
I absolutely loved it. Your enthusiasm has been fantastic to watch and be part of. Man.
And I tell you what, I appreciate it because as somebody else who's a fellow way too crazy brain, too loud, and people can't deal with it. Hi, friend. I see you. Thanks for being here.
You're like an avatar. I see you.
That's absolutely
Yeah.
correct. I love it. Now you were just singing for the audience just a bit ago.
We don't need to go there. We don't need to go.
Oh,
I do enjoy a good sing along.
Guess what? You're going to be invited to the 𝓕𝓮𝓪𝓷𝓭𝓪 karaoke party that I'm going to set up live somehow, some way. I'm pulling it in from the Tongerverse. Just you be ready for it. It's going to be great.
Yes. Gretchen Wilson, Redneck Woman. That is my go-to.
I love it.
Go-to karaoke song.
My friend Bernie, her character would love to hang out and sing some country music with you, darling. I think that would be great. Miss Emily, talk to us about your experience with this rattled awake misfit bunch.
Oh, misfit bunch. I don't know about that. I think we're all beautifully flawed. No, I think this has been a really wonderful experience for me. You know, I had tried to publish. I didn't try. I did. This is my second publication, and man, that first journey was hard. It was very, very, very hard, and I was amazed at how gifted Lonnee is at just bringing out the story. Having ADHD myself, I'm not linear, so it's not orientation is not beginning, middle, and end like it is for most individuals. I jump into the middle and then I go in all these different directions, and it can be really wonderful and innovative. And that's one of the gifts of ADHD, looking at things differently. At the same time, it can be like herding cats when you're trying then to come up with something that you can effectively communicate to other people. So Lonnee was able to do that with me. And that is, I want to say it's beyond a gift. It takes real talent to do that. So thank you.
Oh my goodness, thank you for that. Yeah, it's wonderful to be able to capitalize on the ability to see a little bit further in you and around, and what's down the street, around the corner for you. And I'm so excited because the book is your first step. It's a tool, and you did such a beautiful job. And what came out of it? What's coming out of this? Right? The ideas for what you're going to do in the future, what you can do in the future. To take this. You got to read her chapter. This woman deserves a cape. I don't know how she gets around without one. She's just done so many amazing things for young people, and you know, we're figuring out how to scale that possibly, so that more people that want to help can learn how from this Wonder Woman right here. Emily, you're amazing.
Thank you, Lonnee. Yeah, no, I think all of us have this innate desire to help. We want to be of use and of value, and I love that, and I would love to help people magnify that and be force multipliers for, you know, the rest of the world. Help raise the human consciousness level of love and overcome fear.
I want to say also real quick, the poet part, the writers and poets, why I changed this, has a lot to do with the poetry that Emily has written in her book, her first book, which is currently being revamped to be really spiffy. And it is. Yeah, I saw some of the images already. Anyway, the poetry, the ability that you have to succinctly describe a situation, a feeling, an encouraging statement, in poems, in, you know, Dr. Seuss lives in your head too, apparently, is just spectacular. Yeah, and then because of you, and some other authors who were coming up, and then I said, Haleigh, do you have a poem? And she said, yeah, if I could just find it. And
if I could find it in the millions of notebooks that my ADHD has everywhere, full of madness.
We just create, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Can't stop it.
It's such a good poem. It is so good, Haleigh. There's wisdom and simplicity, and you just that guys, read it. Just wow.
Aww.
I loved all of our stories. You know, Haleigh, I loved you speak on paper how I think in my mind, and that might be because we share that neurodivergence aspect, but we skip words almost. We're going so fast, it's like tumbling down a hill, and you write like that, but you do it beautifully and with humor, and it's fun. It's fun to read, and you feel excited about the experience. And I loved how, you know, you said it up front. You're like, this is going to be this story about getting lost in the woods, but don't worry, it's funny. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have the courage to read this.
And have fun and enjoy it, even though there might be some twists and turns like there is in this human experience. And thank you so much, both of you. I appreciate that. Really, I do. And both of your stories are so great too. And I really do. I'm so glad that the poetry thing got added, because it's kind of that. And this is really interesting to me too, that we all have a little bit of that element of like, we had this creative thing that we tried to do, and the first time that we went to do it, it kind of flopped, right? And it wasn't what we wanted it to be, and we're coming back at it again, right? There's a little bit of that. I'm glad to be reminded of the things that I enjoyed doing, because it reminds me of why I persevere in doing this, because I want to get to that creativity. I want to spend my time in that space, and that joyful, like, letting the you that is you come out into the world in whatever way you have to express that, right? So I'm so glad that we added that, and thank you both for encouraging everyone to do a poem, because I think that was really fun.
It was really, and that is the thing about Rattled Awake, is it's such an organic process. When Rich and Carla come on, you'll hear about what 3 times he's tried to start a story, and that wasn't it, and then it wasn't it, and that wasn't it either, and then it was, and it's just this organic process of, where are we going with this? Oh yeah, okay, we can get back on that track, but how about this part? Oh yeah, that sounds good. So it's in writing. There's there's terms. You're a planner or a pantser. Pantsers fly by the seat of their pants. Hence, it's actually a word in publishing. Yeah, Haleigh, I thought you'd like that one.
That's how I do it. I think Emily's probably with me, and they're like, "Yep, I get what that's like." Again, and you speak to that so well. I jump right into the middle, and then I go off in all directions, and not everyone understands that.
But there's a lot of power in that. So there's a lot of power in that, especially if you can gravitate and magnetize other people's power, and you know where your weaknesses are, that you can go, okay, I'm gonna attract that.
But that's why we attracted Miss Lonnee Ray, who knows what she's doing and can help us get these stories organized in a good way and put together a beautiful book that we've put out. BTW, you get in the links in the description of this, and you can get your free copy today, y'all. Heyo.
One of you, sorry, quick question, because I know I want to, give room for others, but quick question. When I'm reading all of ours, I truly felt like I could see myself in that. I could see myself in that. I could see myself in every single person's story. And it like hit in my gut too, where I'm like, this is brilliant. We're really all connected.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Haleigh.
Because the tongerverse is perfectionism.
It had to be about that tongerverse.
And everything is always perfectly orchestrated. We were meant to come together. Like, there's a reason. You gravitate to the people who are resonant with you and the people who have the same goals. And I think you can really see that. You're correct. There is in a thread throughout all of our stories that we absolutely have gone through very similar challenging circumstances and found ways to flip the story, flip the paradigm, switch the script, and tell ourselves something better, that we learned something out of it, that we grew and became better from it, and that we can help others with what we learned. And I think that was something that's really beautiful. Go on, Lonnee, what's up?
It's okay. I like the way you put it. You guys know I do a story development call before everybody gets together. And that's so that a universal message can be created. I'm adamant about that in the series. So it doesn't matter whether or not you've directly experienced, say, like Rob Profanchik. He's in recovery, and you don't have to have been an alcoholic who's recovered to relate to his story. The same thing is true about everyone's story in this book. You don't have to have necessarily worn those shoes to know what that journey is like, because the message comes through. And these are human, universal messages that are relatable across the board, no matter what country, language, or life or lifestyle you've lived. That's what I love about Rattled Awake. That's the thread that brings everybody together in spite of all these different stories. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because it is the point of the book, of the series. So
do you do anything behind the scenes that we don't know about to kind of elicit those similar threads, or does it just magically happen?
It's on those phone calls. Okay. It's on the calls that I have with you guys, and I'm listening for it. Yeah.
Because Lonnee knows what she's doing. She's an effortless god, and she knows how to pull this off and orchestrate things. Waving that magic wand, riding around you're writing around on a giant pencil or something, not a broom. Like, you should have got one of those like mechanical jobbers from back in the day that's nice and pink and sparkly from when, 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲 days.
Yes.
Emily, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, give me some of your ADHD favorite school supplies.
I remember gel pens. I had like 5,000 of them, and I had like a giant stash. But that's also so socially, right? I'm a lot, so that can be like really odd. And when I was younger, I had a really
I have no idea what that's
right.
like.
Right, I've gotten better as an older professional, but young it was really hard. Well, what I would do, I would bribe people. I would have like a ton of gel pens, and I'd be like, "Hey, you want to be my partner on this worksheet? Here's a gel pen you can use." Clever tricks, right?
The olive branch that is a gel pen cannot be exceeded in its beauty. I am with you. I love that. I had a bunch of gel pens, and my thing was like, hey, I'm going to draw some tattoos on myself. Do you want to draw some tattoos on me? I'll draw some tattoos on you with the gel pen.
Bonding. I love it. Yep.
Exactly. I love it. So good. Emily, I appreciate so much you being here with us. Give us your parting message to the group in the live here. We'll be bringing folks up and you can comment, but I know that you, again, feeling the connectivity of everybody. What do you want to say about this Rattled Awake? I think not so misfit bunch, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I think that all of us can really come together around the message that growth happens. Comfort is nice, right? We want to be comfortable. It feels good. But at the same time, growth is what happens when we're uncomfortable. And I think all of our stories beautifully illustrate moments in our lives when we were deeply uncomfortable. And now it's the way through. And we're now looking back. And I would rather be the person I am today than the person I was without having learned these meaningful lessons over the last 5 years.
I also want to point something out, and this is a struggle that Emily had, which was how do I cover a story without throwing any other people under the bus, and how do I right? We won't go any further. But it is a challenge, and I just want to kind of piggyback on what you went through to get here, because it takes another person from the outside to see, because a third party sees more than the people involved, and the ability to be able to skip rocks over rough seas, as I call it, right? That then you're not dragging your reader through the trauma. You're on the other side of it. In publishing, we say you're either standing in your story, you're still stuck in it, or you're on top of it. And you guys are all on top of your stories. And then that means you can turn back with a lantern and a laugh, as I say, and show people the path. And that's what you all did so beautifully.
That's with a lantern and a laugh, the only way to do it. I love it. Emily, just quick though, before you go, because our good friend Anya, who we'll be bringing up also, you know what, Anya, guess what? That makes you next in line.
Bring her up.
She says, Emily, people need to know you're doing soul reading and crystal cards, and tell folks where we find you on that. Come on, self-promotion. Listen.
You guys, the corporate people in my life are probably going to listen to this. That's the closet secret, but okay, I will come out with it. I've been going through this beautifully divine awakening over the last 6 months, and the gifts that I've had that I can't explain, that I can't see. I've grown in confidence in what those are, and I've enjoyed doing that out of love for my friends and family. And I'm pretty good at, reading cards and enjoying crystals and sensing energies and auras and all the things. So
listen, there are human beings in the corporate world too, and they need to remember their human origins, and that those human origins are part of the supernatural world and not the boring, beat us out of all the things that we actually can be in this human form. And I think it's a great thing for you to come out of the closet. So we thank Anya for that, for helping.
I want to on that. Hold on. Okay, here's why that matters. You're not the only one doing this, Em. One of our co-authors just told me the other day, not this book, another one, and he said that he's aligned with an accountant who uses sources of divination to advise her clients in their accounting matters, their financial matters, and has had tremendous success in doing so. Why not bring it in?
For me, I think I turned off my intuition for such a long time. I turned off my intuition because I was hurting, right? And that's part of what my story is about. I was hurting and I was I was serving others in order to be distracted from that pain. And so I needed to learn after, leaving the field of, counseling, I needed to learn how to listen to my intuition. And I think that's really what that spirituality aspect is learning to listen for things that I can't see. I also think that's what made me a great counselor, being able to have folks come in and, empathically, I can feel you. I can feel where you're at. And we don't have to go through a lot of words for me to just jump right in and be what you need in that moment.
I think you brought such a good point.
It is a good point. Come back to that internal compass because it'll never steer you wrong.
Well, I literally found a note I made the other day, and it says, when your pain is louder than your intuition. That's what happens. It can happen. And you put it so beautifully, Emily. I had no idea that you had this. Thanks, Anya. Thanks for telling us. Anya told me on you. Huh? Now we're going to be consulting you.
But Tattletale Anya's is up next on stage, so be ready.
But that's what it's really all about now is us remembering who we are. And, we're not separate from the thing that created us. That's impossible. And it's divine and it's amazing. And let's just say yes to that.
Yeah. And in Peter's chapter, he speaks about dissonance. He speaks about cognitive dissonance when we're, having two parts of ourselves to be pulling. I would often, as a counselor, see that all the time in clients. You can be happy and be angry. You can feel two emotions at the same time. The same thing here with integrating these different parts of ourselves. Okay, you can be, someone of high value that's bringing X, Y, and Z services in, X, Y, and Z way. But you can also have these other aspects that are difficult to describe and they're unknown and they just seamlessly blend. And as long as you're not fighting the two, you make more progress than not. And I think I'm done fighting with myself. So,
yay! Hooray!
So many cheers for being done fighting with yourself. I'm there with you. I love that. Miss Emily, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for being willing to come out of the closet on this live with us. That's a big brave thing. And we appreciate you for that. I salute you.
You are welcome. Thank you both.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Well, excuse me. Hello, Tattletale Anya. You have been called into the principal's office for love bombing someone about their amazingness and getting them to share with the world their wonderful gifts. So good on you for that.
Yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, Emily, not sorry. Oh, I'm totally
yes.
The world knows who she really is because she's an amazing, amazing, amazing human being. And the universe united us all. Like, it's so incredible. Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm grateful. So what's next?
What's next? Right? What is next? That's the big question. And I think let's talk about that. Because that is, I think, a space where we probably find ourselves in collectively, where we have gotten, like Lonnee says, to a spot where you have that lantern and that laugh and you can kind of guide folks ahead. But in order to do that, you have to be the example. So from here, from this Rattled Awake launch off point, bestsellers, congrats to all of us, right? What is next? And can you just talk to me about that energy? Because I know you get where I'm at. You're in the energy spaces of, all right, let's be done with this thing that we did. We learned the thing. Let's move forward.
Fun. Let's have fun. It's just about fun. Doing business is fun. I don't know, battling challenges is fun. It's all about fun, seriously. And everything that happened with this experience, with this book, it's like even beyond fun, because I was like facing emotions that I didn't even know that they are there. Mm-hmm. It's like it was very transformational weekend for me, because it was not only like emotionally challenging, but also because I was the only one from across the pond. So basically, the time difference, it was like 7-8 hours. So it was night meetings and I was tired and everything. So everything was piling up. especially, the idea, what I want to say, because I have a message. My message is really, really strong. But how to say that in like 4,000 or 3,000 words? And that was challenge. And Lonnee, she's absolutely incredible, and she navigated this path, and like guiding us through all the obstacles that that are up here. And yeah, we did it. Oh my gosh, we did it.
It's amazing what you can do when you don't know you can't. All it takes is one person to go, I actually know that this works. Come here, let me show you how. And then we just do it, right? You just do it. It's like a high jump. You just do it. You did.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I never thought about writing a book. I know that I have a message. I know I like LinkedIn. I write a lot on LinkedIn. And then Lonnee is like, hey, we are doing like Rattled, are you interested? And I was like, yeah. And then I, asked my intuition. I was like, okay, yeah, but I have like this instant. It was already, yes. It's just like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have this. It's like, no, shut up. I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Don't tell me no.
Yeah. And then, because me and Emily, we already met. I mean, we met on LinkedIn. And I was like, hey, I'm doing this and this and this. So are you interested? Because I really saw her, I see synergies like before they exist. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is my spiritual gift in that way. So basically, I really saw that. I really saw that potential. And when we all came together, it was like, damn, that's going to be fun. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
the fun.
We just started out having a weekly. Sorry, Haleigh. Me and I, we were just talking. We're like, well, we need to do this again next week, and then the third week. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing the book. Oh, I need to do it. Really, you want to do it? Oh, okay. And it just sprang into life. It just organically grew, like overnight excitement. And then she brought Emily to the party, and then it was like the dimensions that were, that this book has. Yes, thank you. Like, you can use both hands really well. Yeah. It went like this, and it went like this. And it is a synergistic combination of people that is amazing. That
we've been orchestrated together in the most wonderful way, and I do love it. It is the fun, and that's a big thread, I think, for all of us too. That you've been across to the other side of the yuckiness that you had to deal with, and now you're ready to do the fun and the build the big things and to chase the big dreams. And the great thing about this little project that we've done is that it's a wonderful demonstration of how you don't need to chase the big things. They swirl and come together perfectly on their own. Yes.
Exactly. To you. Also, Haleigh, look, like we met, or like we were chatting, a couple of months ago?
Yes.
And it was not meant for us to meet back then,
No, because it kept not working.
Exactly. It was not the right time. And then I was like, who is it? I saw an email. Oh my God, I know her.
I had the same thought. I was like, I was supposed to talk to her. Why didn't we get to talk yet? Oh, exactly. Because this is where we're supposed to hang out and talk. We're supposed to talk here.
Awesome. So yeah.
It is. It's a wonderful thing when you get to sort of see the synergies, the synchronicities, and the things lining up in real time, and that you can be awake enough to notice them and to see them as they're happening. Like, that is the really fun and exciting energy to be in. And I have really loved that about all of the authors in this Rattled Awake series, because we do have, again, and I'm with you on that, where you can see the synergies, and it's like Lonnee says, being able to see around up ahead and around the corner. You can see where those things work and where they fit together. And I think that's a really great thing about our stories, and how they, again, all had that message was easy to find in there because it was already there to begin with.
It was amazing. And like Emily said, we are all connected, each and every one of us. And, when me and Lonnee, when we met, I think that Shelley introduced us. Yeah. Again, yay! Thank you, Shelley. So
I need to meet the Shelley person. She needs to come on the podcast.
She's really cool. So, I mean, me and Lonnee, we clicked. Like instantly. We clicked. Like, hey, I know you. I don't know when we met. Like a couple of centuries ago, but I know you. Yeah, I know you too. So it was like, I guess we're meeting again. So it was all flow. It was really, it
Yeah.
was so, I haven't experienced that kind of flow with so many people, in yeah, quite a while, but it exists. So this was a really good proof, that
And what,
who we are.
again, it is a good proof of who we are, who we each are, and not just individually, but collectively. And that when you get together, that great energy that you have on your own, that light that you have to shine, man, when we all come together, can we build a lighthouse like nobody's ever seen?
Link arms, circle the wagons, build a bonfire in the middle, and let's dance. Because, we are finding each other. And yeah, I saw a comment that Chef Jill put down there earlier, and she said, we really are awakening to the divine within that's been there the whole time. That's paraphrasing. But, it is a beautiful time for us to come together and be sparklers. A bunch of sparklers light up a whole place, don't they?
And there's no effort. There is absolutely no effort, It's just,
yes.
It just comes.
Yeah.
So that,
And
Yeah, with all that you were going through over the weekend in your own life, and still your dedication to getting this done and getting it done on time, and saying, I didn't expect this to happen. Let's go with it. And it just, what you wrote is absolutely beautiful. And what a story. So,
it's my life. Chapter out of my life, like every one of us, like we shared piece of our life that we want to share with the world, like inspirational way. And I think it's incredible what we created, really.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of us, like each and every one of us. And it's like, and like clicking on the Amazon link, like every 2 hours, like, it's still there.
Because it belongs there, because everyone in the world needs to attach to this kind of fun, super awesome energy that we have, that we've put together. And again, the idea of putting that together in a book and a product that goes out to the world and that will touch you don't know who, will help you don't know who. You're, again, the voice that your particular flavor is meant for somebody who is out there looking for your flavor. And I can't wait to see all the good friends that we're going to bring into our fun little party games here.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to. Yeah. So what's the time there? And now it's 6 p.m.
I know. So. I was going to say, I want to thank you for being that spike that was holding down the pin on the other side of the planet. Like, we needed you to anchor things over there. We appreciate you for being that. So good, Anya. I do love it.
Intergalactic.
I was gonna say, intergalactic. We do have some intergalactic friends in the comments. Thank you for being here, y'all. But is there anything before we would let you run away? Is there anything Emily maybe in the private chat can tell us that we need to tattletale on you about and bring you out of the closet just for like making things even? Emily, what do we got?
Are you gonna roast me?
No, I will just. Yeah, Emily. She hugs trees, is what she says. Well, who doesn't? I'm out there hugging trees, talking to them all day, every day. Lonnee Ray had an experience where she got to be a tree in her consciousness, in her dream. Like,
oh my gosh.
Well, okay, good. Before you go, you have to talk to your. We got to hear about it now. Before you get to leave, you must tell us about tree hugging.
Yeah, I mean, I go to the woods, and some of is it birch? I really love the birch, that's the tree, and I named it. So I talk to it and I hug it, and it's amazing, and I love it. So because we are all connected, and I can feel the energy also of the tree. And yeah, in my village, sometimes people are like, what is she doing? And I'm like, I'm having fun.
I'm talking to my tree friends. I'm communicating with nature. Are you not doing that? You should be. I'm so glad you said that, because I'm all up in Big Sioux State Park, naming trees, talking to trees. The silver maples are some of my favorites, so I get you. You get some of them you just connect with a little bit more easily, right?
Absolutely.
See, this is why you and I were supposed to talk, because we've both got that like earth elemental energy. I don't know what we need to do with that, but we need to like jump in on another one of these in party time.
You absolutely do. And
let's figure it out.
Yeah. There's a woman that I met a long time ago on this metaphysical journey I've been on, and she wrote A Journey to the Stars, and it's a wonderful, real, true story. And she would sit in the garden, and the different plants would speak to her. and the potatoes didn't want to be planted next to the something or other. They didn't get along. And so she was able to rearrange the garden based on what they said worked for them. And it worked. It worked out real well. So, people can poo-poo that if they want to, but I've heard, boulders that have different sounds and vibrations, and they've spoken to me too. So
they've done studies on little sound stuff, sticking it in mushrooms and grass has its own.
Like the
They do.
frequencies. It's also
Yeah, they
HeartMath
do.
is doing that, like just check it out. HeartMath Institute, they're also doing like, measuring the frequencies of the trees, and
they're speaking to us too. You just got to tune in, tap in, and you can get on that frequency and get the information they have. It might be some wisdom that's really chill and cool, y'all.
Absolutely.
We can have a debate party, yeah? Or what is it? The debate club.
Yeah, we can, with all of our tree friends. We're going to get together and debate what would be the most fun way for us to have another party together with all of our Rattled Awake friends and bring in the tree friends this time.
Any excuse will do, y'all. Any excuse, apparently. Yeah.
I don't need an excuse. I have a digital lasso, and I'm just going to grab all of you and yank you in.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, love it. Giddy up, girl. Anya,
Okay. Volume 9, chapter 1. Then, I don't know what's gonna, what the future will bring, but I'm pretty sure that we are sticking together. So
I am thrilled, and I can't wait to see what it's all. Game on 100%. Anya,
rock
thank
on,
you so much
rock on
for joining us.
Yeah, and I have like a short message for everybody who's listening. So if you want to predict the future, just create it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true Tongarrian queen. I thank you so very much for that, friend. Beautiful message.
Thank you, queen. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye from across the ocean.
Hi, sweetheart.
From the other side of the world. Oh, I love her. And guess what? Now here comes our good friend, Peter. Oh, Peter.
Oh, my goodness.
How you doing? Good morning.
Good to see you.
Were you ready to be brought up from the backstage and just be in all the wild, crazy fun?
It's been fun. It's been fun. It's exciting. This book has really done phenomenal. It's like, and I have to thank Lonnee for inviting me to participate. We met some time back, and she asked me if I could participate, and I've been glad to, and it's been very helpful for me. Writing for me is how I find myself, and I joke all the time. You can know when I'm going through that because I produce a lot. And then when things are really good, I don't write.
Yeah.
You know what? That is really interesting. There's I think that's probably true for a lot of creative people, that when you are going through a challenge, a difficult time, you do sort of get ultra creative, not necessarily that's where we all want to be creating a space that we want to all create from. But sometimes that creative outlet is the only way to keep you going and pull you through the challenges you're experiencing.
Well, here's the thing about Peter and his blatant honesty is I saw him on LinkedIn and I said, you are my kind of people. and I went and found him and I said, knock, knock. What are you doing? Are you busy? I want to feature what you're doing, because I like people that are stand-up guys that are speaking up. And Peter, you have a beautiful way of expressing very difficult topics. You have a wonderful way of relating and sharing. And yeah, it triggers people, but you know what? You don't stop. And I love that about you. You're such a stand-up guy. And it doesn't matter what people say or what's going on. You're going to just keep going forward. And look what has happened, because you are out there expressing yourself in your way about topics that I get. I've seen it. I know. I agree. And it was good to see someone else having the courage, if you will, or maybe you just couldn't freaking help it, to speak up in ways that a lot of people have either no clue about or are not willing to be that courageous. And so I just admire you so much. And I'm honored to have you in 2 volumes of Rattled Awake.
Well, thank you. And I just want to share with you, I had a grandmother who, at the end of her life, she had both cancer and a heart condition, and she was at the point where she had the FU pass, where if she felt something, she felt she wasn't going to hold back because she didn't have time to. Well, I just turned 55, and on my birthday, my oldest sister called me up and told me all the discounts that are available to me now that I'm eligible for ARP.
Thank you for that. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Man, siblings, they do it for you every time, don't they?
They did. However, at the same time, what am I waiting for? And that's in essence how I write now. Now, I don't want to point fingers at people because I realize, and I know in this world, a lot of people might refer to people as sheeple, that they're not, like they just get hurted. And I would actually say sleeples, meaning that I once was asleep, and have that understanding that some people need to be asleep and other people don't really know how to move forward. And in essence, in my writing, I try to provoke thought. I don't want to point fingers because I understand everybody is where they need to be. And Lonnee, I really have to thank you for reaching out to me, because I've been a writer now for about 25 years, and I wrote in Canada, where I'm originally from. I'm in San Diego right now. I wrote for some of the largest publications, and I know that very few people actually write letters. And I remember writing for the largest legal publication in Canada, reached most of the lawyers. I had 3 letters to the editor, and those letters were not like what I said. So in essence, to have someone reach out to you, they represent so many other people. And I want to thank you, Lonnee, for me to join this group of people who are expressing themselves, because I want to share with a funny story. I was going through a major change last year, and I was published a lot. Like I was just dumping. That's what I would call it, a brain dump. All these things, I'd gone down so many rabbit holes the last 4 years, like many people probably have. You know, they started asking questions. They started being provoked. So a gentleman said, "Hey, I'd like to go out, take you out for lunch." And I go out with him. He says, "How do you do it?" And I looked at him and I said, "Well, you're witnessing a man going through a crisis, and he's doing it in public." And that's in essence, my writing is me expressing things that are happening in me. One of the things that I realized as a writer is if it touches you, it will touch other people.
Yep.
And I write the greatest audience, maybe is me. Like it's a solitary activity, and if the words speak to me, I believe maybe they'll speak to someone else. And has to be a humility as well, because I'm a reader, and I can immediately tell whether the person is saying I'm the great oracle, or someone says, "Hey, here's an issue, let's look up there together, and maybe you can add." And that's my thoughts about Rattled Awake, is the fact that everybody's participating, saying, "Hey, here's something up there. I'm experiencing it. Can you add to it?" And that to me is the most powerful way of collaboration, where I'm no longer a sage on a stage, I'm a guide on the side.
Nice.
I really love the energy that you bring and your approach here, because that going back to what you said about like not sheeple, sleeple, right? And recognizing that there's a difference between like telling someone they need to change because you like something about what they're doing is wrong, and offering and saying, what if there's another way that's easier, that's less strain, less pain, less of the ugliness, and here it is again, like you're saying, here's this thing, here's this potential solution that we could actually be giving our energy to, instead of looking at all the things that are wrong or being blameful and pointing fingers. What could you add to the things? What ideas do you have that could expand this energy of, hey, there's something else that might be available here, let's explore it? I really do love that energy.
Thank you. Well, again, I just want to share one of the things that I realized with myself is people told me things in life and I wasn't ready to hear them. So what I like to think is maybe someone writes something, and then something happens and it clicks, and we don't know. I want to share with you a really quick story. I was taking a subway about 4 or 5 years ago, and I met this young gentleman, and he was doing his mother was a single parent. He's doing his work over at the University of Toronto in computer sciences, and I just had an extra one of my previous books, and it's called The King of Main Street, and I handed it to him. He called me up a few years later, about during the pandemic, and he had him and a group of grads at a company, and the company is just about to go IPO, and he was telling me my book had that impact, just that conversation that we had. We don't know the impact we have with people, and that is something that I become more aware of with different experiences I've had in my life. And you've got to reach, and the greatest spells that we can cast are through our words. So to be very careful, and more importantly, to be conscious of them. Like, I become a big nerd lately. Over the last year and a half, I bought a number of books on etymology, and I am obsessed with the meaning of words, the origins of words. I was obsessed for years. I'm a little bit odd. I studied hypnotherapy for 10 years, from like my mid-20s to my mid-30s, and I was obsessed with it. And that's where I became very focused on how I said what I said. And I was never conscious of how I populated how I said what I said, because words are powerful, and many people use words they don't know. They don't know the power of those words, and the fact that there's a lot of words that sound like other words that might be very negative. For example, good morning.
I was just going to ask you about that. I want to ask you about that. So I just learned that actually came from the slaves being beaten and tortured all night, and they were mourning them. And in the morning, the owners would come and say, "Did you have a good morning?" And that's actually the origins of those two words. And what I wanted to, and that shocked me. I know there's people out there saying grand rising instead of good morning, because the origins of good morning are really pretty horrific. But if we don't know that, is it really perpetual? Pardon?
Like happy sunrise. That's what we'll go ahead and read.
I'm okay with that. I just wonder if they see these words and they don't realize, well, is it harmful? Is it a bad thing saying good morning? Well, who would have thought twice about it until you actually hear the history of it? And then it's like,
yes. I think I personally have come to the conclusion it is harmful. When I write, Lonnee,
you're breaking.
I can go right in. Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Better.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. When I write, I can feel it. Like, I'm very kinesthetic, not kinesthetic like with feel, but how it actually resonates. You can probably tell by my voice, I speak from like my lower diaphragm. So I feel the words that I write. And if I phrase it in a certain way, certain words make me, and certain words and sentences bring me down. And that's why I was sharing the consciousness of the words we use, because there's two types of communicators, and that I've realized, two types of parents, two types. There's people who elevate, and there's people who deflate. And to have that consciousness, when I write, something I learned a number of years ago, I always write the objective at the top of the page. And then I write it, and then I say, did I achieve it? Am I moving towards that? And one of the things that I want to do, and I've been somewhat dark because I'm actually pointing out to people that maybe people haven't asked themselves before, but am I elevating? Is there a solution? Is there something? Is there hope? What makes a good therapist from a bad therapist is a bad therapist says, you're going to be fixed, keep on coming to me. And the other one says, I can see hope. I can see a day that you have this all under control. So the question is, how are you speaking? And our words, to me, are very, very powerful. I like peace to people now. Like, there's a word called shalom, which is in Hebrew says peace, and they say salam in Islam. Isn't that really what you want? To be someone's peace, not their disruptor? Yes. And there's words And the first time I became conscious of that, Lonnee, is I'm in the financial field. I've been in the financial field for 33 years. And when I was studying, I remember the origins of mortgage. And I remember that was the first time I really thought about it, because I said, mortgage, yeah, you borrow money, you buy a house. It means death.
Wait, you broke up. It means what? I'm on the edge.
It means death pledge.
Death pledge?
That's what a mortgage means. It's a
Oh
death
my God. No wonder I didn't get one.
these are things, well, let's like break them apart too. Corporation, what is it? It's corp and it's oration. It's a dead person speaking, right? There's certain things that we're not even aware of. And for example, I'm going to go back to the book in a second. We're given things to believe. We show up on this planet and people tell us, we follow people, we listen to people, we become like bees in the hive, and we're just moving back. We don't even know why we're doing it. So for writing for me, and this is why I do a lot of it, I want to know why I think what I think. And I'm no expert. I don't even know Peter Merrick, but through that, maybe something be sparked and to explore themselves, because the greatest adventure is not out there. It actually happens to be mining the experiences you have. And anybody who's seen things that don't make sense the last 4 years, the greatest thing you have is your memory to say, I don't think that's true. I remember a time that wasn't true. And you're able to go and actually mine it, and through writing. And I remember reading this years ago, why people like other people's work, because those people have given words to what they've already been thinking. They've given a lexicon. And the only thing about anybody who might write a great book or put a great pro together, they've given some more time thinking about it, but everybody has the ability to go down that road. And to go back to the book, what's so beautiful, what you've done, Lonnee, is you've given people the opportunity to find something that's really important to them, to give it a voice where it will resonate with other people, because words are vibrations. And if someone is charging you with something so personal, you can feel it through the page.
I really love that. I'm going to have you come back and have a whole conversation about words or meanings that I did not know. So we need to have a conversation about that.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for, again, the great energy that you have, and the approach that you take to language, and to having, again, looking at the solution, positivity, the what's possible to get us to the next step, and not focusing on the things that don't work. I really do appreciate that, and would love to have you on another podcast to talk about all the words that I don't know the actual meanings and origins of. That's fascinating. So thank you very much so much for joining us and being a part of the Rattled Awake Writers and Poets edition. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have Richard and Carly White.
Hey! Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi. The first husband-wife writing team that Rattled Awake has seen. And let me tell you what, I get really jazzed and excited about a couple. I do. I don't care. I think it's cute when there's couples that work together and create together and do fun things together. I love it. It's my favorite. And such just so many synchronicities and things for all of us that, you know, we were meant to hang out together and be friends and do creative things in the world together. And I don't know from where things will go from here, but I'm so excited. Hi, friends.
Hi.
Hi.
The whole group together. Oh, our dog saying hi and things gets our dog excited. She's like, who's here? What's going on and why?
The Rattled Awake team is here. We're here to have fun.
So we'll have a little guest appearance.
Just
I
control
love
the
it.
situation a little bit.
I am so happy to have a dog guest appearance on the podcast. I will never say no to a pet guest appearance. Happy to have that.
Everybody meet Lola.
Lola. I love it. Lola, she was a show dog.
She's a part of the synchronicity too, to be honest. She's definitely one of the helping hands in giving my judgment about Rich, being like, if my dog likes you, then I can like you. She doesn't bark at you and she licks you first thing, you're a winner. So
Oh man, Rich, you better thank that dog.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky with her, and she's not kidding. Like, she's a great judge of character, and like normally she's good with people, and then every once in a while, there'll be this person that she's like not about. And like Carly was saying, the first time I met Lola, she was all about me. So I was, I'm pretty happy about that because it worked out for me in the long run.
Well, hey, Lola, the best matchmaker there could be in the Tongaverse. I just love it. That's so good. Do tell us about your experience as a couple writing in this anthology, and kind of like, you both have your own different stories, your own different pieces of your life, right? And you didn't necessarily know each other, right, through these experiences that you were having. So talk to us a little bit about that, because that is something where maybe you got to learn a little bit more about each other through this process.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's magical, the way that Rich and I have been brought together, and that writing this with each other has motivated us so much and pushed us more towards our dreams of wanting to do things together. I've never had such support in a relationship. With us both being divorced and us both kind of knowing what a marriage failure feels and looks like, and then being okay with that, and then coming out the other side and finding this relationship that not only is a friendship, not only is a relationship and a partnership, but we work together and we love to be together. And I love being able to write right next to him and be like, hey babe, does this sound good? And he's like, hey babe, does this sound good? So it is really, really magical to be able to share this, this life with somebody like this. So yeah, but writing chapters, I don't know, for me, it was definitely an emotional chapter. So I did a lot of crying and a lot of sitting in bed and being like, what do I write next? I don't know how to approach this. I don't know how to approach this. So again, having somebody to kind of bounce those ideas off of and kind of get that emotion through to, who understands me and sees me for who I really am and knows what message I'm trying to get across. It was just really nice to have that person to bounce off of. So that was my experience. What was yours?
Oh man. Well, yeah, it was equally good. We're on a laptop right now, as you guys can see in the kitchen, but I have my PC. And so she's working on a laptop. I'm working on the PC, and I'm like kind of off in the corner by myself, and there's, family in the background, a lot of activity. So, and me, I kind of like my solitude when I'm writing, because I like to be able to stay focused, and there's just so much traffic behind me to where I struggled staying focused. And I felt like I was one of the last ones near the end to kind of be finally finished with the piece, to where I wanted to read it with Haleigh and Carly. One night we were sitting around, and they're in the background still working, or excuse me, doing the peer review between each other, and I'm still typing away, trying to do my thing, and I'm half listening because I'm trying to stay focused. But I don't know, I found myself being easily distracted, and
again, no idea what that's like.
Well, and with me in the background, hey babe, does this sound good? Hey, hey, do you like this line? Hey, can I read this to you? Hey, so definitely our experiences are funny because they're so different. Because I'm like, it was great, and he's like, yeah, it took me a minute to get it done.
I was trying to focus a little bit, and maybe somebody was a little bit all over the place. Oh, that's Carly. Listen, that's why.
So the dog, the two kids, Carly. So it's just like, oh my gosh.
We all need Rich all the time.
Sensory overload.
Well, it just makes you appreciate those. I don't want to say your solitude moments. I'm an early riser, always have been. I'm a night owl and an early riser. I can operate really well on 6 hours of sleep, and I find that I'm, the most productive first thing in the morning when everybody's still kind of in bed.
Yep. You got to get out of bed and do the things before everybody gets up and starts interrupting your stuff. I'm with you. I get it.
Yeah, it's just part of the responsibilities, all the multiple hats that we all wear in life,
Definitely.
Absolutely. And You all wear them so very beautifully. Well done, you. And I did like, and that was another fun thing I think about our group is that we did, you know, support each other. And it was so easy for us to say, you know, like, yeah, let's jump on a Zoom call. Let's hang out and talk about this some more. You know, let's go through these things. And again, just sort of the perfection of the universe, the Tonguerverse, how things just get put together and you find your people when you are doing the thing you're meant to do. And when you're in that creative space and you're following that thing in you that says, I don't know why, I just need to put this into the world. I need to make this. And you know, that when you're following that is when you meet all of the right people. And, you know, Richard, maybe you can talk about this just a little bit because you had a similar situation kind of to Rick where you started out where, you know, having this idea and there was a chunk of time before you know, actually did get your book out there.
Yeah, a large chunk of time. I think it was in like 2017 timeframe when I was going through the experience with my son and his night terrors. And the idea came to me with the robot man that was visiting him in the middle of the night to write this story. And, you know, like I said in my chapter, all those events that happened, you know, it was easy for me to write about it because they were all true and they were current. So it just came at me real easy. It was when the creativity had to come into the picture to where I get a stump. Like, all right, now I'm in this new world with these new characters. How do I connect it all with what's going on in like reality? And I hit a writer's block. And at the same time, both my boys, they're huge into YouTube. We're sitting on a couch, we're watching a YouTuber, and one of my sons says, Dad, you could do this. And he was playing a video game in front of people, entertaining them. And I'm like, all right, I'll give that a shot. I'm at a roadblock with my story right now anyway. Years go by, I'm doing this content creating journey. I'm enjoying it. Personal life events, circumstances change. I'm in a very dark place and I'm now heavily leaning on my voice, so to speak. And this experience that I'm going through personally is making me realize that I can make a connection from my story with my reality and have it be therapeutic for one, but also have it be something that can resonate with a lot of people, because a lot of people, you know, during the pandemic were struggling in some shape or form, either, you know, financially with work or with relationships. You know, like all of a sudden everybody was forced to live, eat, sleep, work all within the same confines of each other every day for a very long time. And that's challenging.
And you find out how much you really like each other in that situation, or how much maybe you really don't, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, there's a lot of resonating in the story for others, I think, that they'll find. But yet the perseverance of like what you're saying with Rick and I having the, you know, with the struggles of getting the first book out and trial by fire and reading all these books and networking with all these people, joining all these writer guilds and trying to really get a grasp of like, hey, I have this idea. I want to make it a reality. I feel like people can relate to it. It might even help somebody, which is what the ultimate goal was, right? Is that hopefully have a story to share with somebody that might resonate with them and who knows, maybe even help them. And so being a part of the Rattled Awake project and getting to not only talk about my actual children's story that I wrote and illustrated, but also talk about the process to get the book to where it's at now. What I was going and what Rattled Awake to make the shift, to make that book a reality and how to come about it. So it's from where I am now to where I was years ago. I wouldn't have fathomed the idea of us being bestsellers in 3 genres for this book and telling my story of what I went through and how my son went through these night terrors and how he helped me and I helped him. And now I'm sharing it with the world. I mean, it's humbling. It's an honor. And it's a motivating juice, if you want to call it that, where I'm already ready for the next one. And I'm currently working on the second one, but I'm like even more motivated now to where like I just want to get it done. And I've learned all these things along the way to where I'm not starting over. I'm starting from experience and I know what not to do.
It's like the video game that is the human experience, right? Like, all right, I did that level and I learned those things. Now I know where those pitfalls are. I got to jump at this spot so that I can miss this little thing and I don't fall down the hole, right? Like you learn those things. You got to keep replaying that level until you can like finally like dip to the next one. Like, okay, I got that one. Now what's next?
Yeah, so I'm not going to go through third parties for publishing my book. I'm just going to either do it myself or keep sending out queries to literary agents in hopes that I eventually get like, a traditional.
Listen, we just call it in right now from the tongaverse that we're already bestsellers, and now next is that we're all going to have our shows and our stories animated, turned into movies. Don't worry, we're just pulling that all in.
Manifest that energy. I'm all about it.
That's the next thing we're doing.
Yep. Power of words. Yeah. That's right.
Power of words. It's
not if, it's when.
Yeah.
Well, it's already happened. It's just how it's the we know it's already happened. We just haven't seen the how bit yet. That's what it is. You're just watching the how bit unfold. And that's the exciting part.
That's right. Love it.
Oh, I do love it. I thank
I'd like to jump in here, if I may.
Lonnee, yes.
I appreciate that. I love listening to the journey that you guys have been on and that you're doing this together. And it was indeed really special. The first time I spoke to Rich, it was a 2-hour phone call. He's really easy to talk to and cry with and peel and reveal. He's that guy. He is just amazing.
Oh, stop. No, go on.
Yeah, and there was a level of trust, knowing I'd never spoken to Haleigh, but he said she's a blogger and she's this, and I'm thinking, and if she's your wife, she's got to be pretty cool too. So okay, let's do this together. The interesting thing that I want this for other people to hear, because it sounds so easy now that we're on the other side of it, but when we first picked up the phone for your story development call, you said, I've tried 3 times. I've got 3 different angles. I don't know what to write. And so it really is helpful to have a Carly or a story development person or Haleigh, or, it really is helpful to have people, come in from the outside and go, hey, I see this. Mm-hmm. Why don't we do something with that thread? Mm-hmm. And you did such a beautiful job. I'm so happy to share a father's motivation. What a spectacular story. I called him crying. I was like, he's like, okay.
I was like stressing all day. Like, I had gone in. She was working with Emily. I think at the beginning, I knew she was working with Rick. At one point in time, she was going back and forth with Carly. And then it was 6 o'clock, maybe almost in the afternoon here in Utah. And I still hadn't heard anything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's ripping it apart. It probably sounds terrible. I'm going to be working all night long trying to fix this thing. And then she calls me and she's in tears and she says, it's beautiful. It truly is beautiful. And I start getting emotional. And I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, you did it. You nailed it. And I'm over here looking at Carly he loves my work.
All day for absolutely no reason. I kept telling him to, I'm like, babe, your book is fine. Your choice is beautiful. You should be proud of what you wrote. He's like, I don't know. She's probably reading it right now. She's probably And I'm like, just wait a minute.
We are our own worst critics.
Yes,
we really are.
We work.
We are. It's so true. But it is, and I love that you said that, worrying all day for nothing. And isn't that what we train ourselves to do as humans, to just worry about everything falling apart in the worst kind of ways all day for nothing, when we could just be sitting in the good energy that we know that we have and trust that it's going to be a bestseller, an international bestseller. And I can't wait for the blockbuster premiere of our animated movie series. We're going to have a collaborative animated movie series. How do we do that? That's a new thing where you put the little mini sections together in chapters. Brand new idea birthed here and now from the Tongaverse. Thanks so much, friends, for helping with that. This is why we need to hang out more, because this is what happens.
Y'all don't need me around. Y'all just run. You go. I'll write it later when y'all are finished creating.
Yeah, we'll create it, and then we're gonna come knock on Lonnie's door and be like, "Hey, excuse me, Queen, Tongaverse librarian. We need some assistance with the
Tongaverse librarian.
We need some assistance. So we're gonna just dump this all on you, and we're gonna get this out there. And then don't worry, it's gonna be beautiful."
Yeah. It is quite normal for people to question themselves and be nervous. Emily went through that too. She was sure that I was examining her document while she's stressing out, telling me how hard it was to do. And she's like, and you're looking at it right now, aren't you? You're just looking at it. And I was like, no, I'm actually trying to find a photo on my desktop. I'm listening to you. Relax, honey. It'll be okay. But that's what we do, right? We really worry about what we got. But what I found is that, you guys have achieved so much in such a short period of time. It's so doable, isn't it? You didn't know, right? You didn't know, but now you know. And now, sky's the limit. Not even that, especially when you hang out with Haleigh. It's galactic. and Anya.
Yes,
It's spiritual, you know, it's out there.
in the ether and all of the parallel dimensions that exist in the here and now, and we are just so excited to be here.
So what I hope is that nervousness that you felt, that's normal, and it's expected. It's the sign of someone who's willing to listen, to learn, to do I need to fix it? Is it okay? I did okay? Wow. Like there's a process that I've seen the authors go through that changes the core of their being. It's like from then on they move forward in a more confident manner. Hey, I didn't know how to do that either, but look how it turned out. And, you know, the expression, I don't know, is the beginning of new possibilities. And to embrace those is a huge, big step. It's a big step. It takes courage. And you guys did it. You nailed it. We have a wonderful book, and it wouldn't be the same without you. Thank you. All of you. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Lonnee Ray and Carly and Richard and just all of our wonderful friends, Emily, Anya, Rick, Peter. Listen. I just love so much that I got to hang out with all of you folks, that I got to bring you into my little bubble, to my little sphere, and create some things with you. And I do think so much of what Lonnee says is true, that, you know, you come together for a reason, it's perfect for a reason, and that if you were able to overcome the things you overcame, you can be helpful to someone else. And ultimately following your creativity, that's what adds to the greater good of the all that is, because someone somewhere will see you, see what you did, see that, well, they didn't know either, and it worked out for them. Maybe it's okay for me to just go ahead and dive in.
And I really want to pick up on that with Carly and her chapter, because I encouraged her to swear. I encouraged her to just, you know, because she said, I was like, fuck you people. And I said, you know what? Go ahead. Say what you were thinking, because that's relatable. That's awesome. You don't have to be a polished writer. What you want to be is real and relatable. And then we said, how can we help the person who's a friend of the person who's grieving? And that transformed, don't you think, Carly? That transformed the chapter into something like, wow, this is what people really need.
Yep, it was the difference between like, well, and because of being an early childhood educator, it was like it's what spoke to me, because that's how essentially I speak to children, is trying to teach them how to do things together, right? Like, you don't have to be alone in this. You can talk to people. You can communicate this way. You can ask for help. And as for adults, we forget those things once we pass preschool. We're like, oh, peace preschool and all the cool things we learned about emotions and helping each other. Now we're going to go to elementary school and middle school and high school, and we're not taught social emotional learning. So I just think it's so important for adults to remember that we can extend those olive branches, those gel pens out to one another and say like, hey, do you need this? Do you know, I'm here for you. So yeah, just opening that book up for people to kind of get that message. So thank you, Lonnee, for pointing that out and helping me kind of organize, because it is hard when you have the thoughts in your head of what you want to say to people and then what you're actually saying to people. And so that was really nice to be able to get both of those things out.
Well, and big props to Lonnee for putting together something where people do tell a chapter out of their life, and it does help you in a cathartic and self-therapy sort of way to kind of re-examine those things yourself, and to maybe look and find a new perspective that you didn't see in it, that is something that, okay, that's the thing that's helpful for others, and maybe there is something more helpful for me in that experience that I didn't quite mind the first time. Maybe I missed that extra proton pack in the first time I passed through that side quest level, but this time I'm going to catch it. I'm going to see it, and I'm going to take it along with me.
If I forgot that proton pack, that is a big no-no.
Yeah, you got to have it.
Well, to go back to a point that you said too about when we're writing and we're facing some emotions, you know, Carly hit on it a little bit in the group chat on LinkedIn, and Anya today in the call, is that, you know, we're really pouring our emotions into it, and at the same time we're also facing emotions that we didn't realize that we were going to face in the writing process. And so it's not just taxing on, like, you know, for like anxiety and stress to get it out and get it on time and make it good, but it's also taxing on your emotions because you're facing internal things that maybe you hadn't faced yet, or maybe you hadn't processed yet, and now you're processing it as you're trying to do something in this project with the time frame. So it was a very powerful experience, at least from what I got out of the group, and we all have a very similar connection with each other, a very powerful energy that we can feel coming off the screen. But on top of that, our own personal experience, because experience is subjective, right? Even though we're all here right now, we're all individually manifesting this experience in our own ways internally. So the writing process, this group has been an experience, a moving experience, a very powerful moving experience for me. And what's next for Carly and I is, with our move to our dream location and our love story location, is we're going to continue to create, and we're just excited that we get to do it together. And we're very, very happy that we got to do all of this with everybody here today as well.
And we are so happy.
A little roller coaster cart together, just like riding this, like with all of our arms up in the air. We're all like, woo!
I mean, and isn't that just that's on brand for the cover of the book, isn't it? That's where we're at. We're all on that ride together. Yeah. And I'm so glad that I got to join you all, because it has been such a great energy bubble to sit in, and I am so excited for us to continue creating together and continue putting that out into the world, because I do think those positive vibes, those happy vibes, that good fun energy of being able to create and enjoy each other's company while we do process difficult emotions, I think that is a great spot to be in this human ride.
Well, I think the Twitterverse for you. If it weren't for you doing that that show, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known about your wild, crazy, amazing self. I wouldn't have known. You were out there doing your thing, and you still are big time. But that's a testament to, let your weird hang out, let your light shine, let your personality out, because the ones that see you and love that can't wait to hang out with you. And that was how I felt about you, Haleigh. And then that's how you led to you led Rich, and Rich brought Carly, and it was just.
It's a domino effect of wonderful people. We thank Jeff out there in the Tongerverse. Tonger Man, what's up? We hope that you're having a wonderful day. And
you got one fish, but you got three. What?
That's a heck of a catch. Who doesn't want to have a catch like that? I right there, and I'm here for it.
Yep. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
It has been wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rich and Carly. Thank you, Lonnee Ray. Thank you to all of the Rattled Awake authors, all of our audience, and all of the wonderful folks who have again, links in the comments. Grab your free copy that you can get of Rattled Awake Writers and Poets Edition. It is a wonderful, heart-centered energy kind of set of stories with some beautiful people. I am so glad I got to be a part of this. Thank you, everyone.
Yay.
See you again in the Tongerverse for more magic that's coming up next. Can't wait to see you, folks. Thank you so much. And this is Haleigh, Lonnee, Rich, Carly, and all the Rattled Awake folks signing off.